Alright, this is 1.7 for 6th grade, page 39 in your book. So let's take a look at the vocabulary, which is verbal model. A verbal model, find my pen here, there we go. A verbal model is defined really well on, let me see if I can find the page. I thought maybe on the second page, no, bottom, on page 39 in example 1 where it says make a plan, it has verbal model highlighted in yellow. It says a verbal model uses words, so that uses words to describe ideas. It's like taking a problem I'll get better at the pen, I promise. This doesn't like me for some reason. As you can see, I'm trying to write, describe ideas. So instead of symbols and numbers and that kind of thing, it uses the words. Instead of a plus sign, there may be the word plus or the word addition. Instead of the unknown will be described in words. So then you would have to go through the verbal model and make it into an equation. So let's go to the next thing here and see what we got happening. So in example number 1, it's a shopping example. You went to the mall with $29 and came home with $3. Later you made a list of how much you spent on each item, but you didn't have a receipt for the food. How much money did you spend on the food? So you can see you had $8 for the CD, $3 for the yo-yo, $5 for the sunglasses, and the food is unknown, which is the thing we're trying to find out. So we go to the part here, understanding and planning is example 1. To solve the problem about spending money, first make sure you understand the problem, then make a plan for solving the problem. Now, one thing I do is I read it once and then I read it again to understand it. I know this isn't a hard problem, you know, especially with money and spending money. A lot of you can do that without, you know, worrying about it. But let's take a look at the next slide. You can get over there. So you start off by saying, okay, first you read it and you say to yourself, okay, what do I know? Out of the problem, we know you started with $29 and you now have 3. So that's an important thing right there to know, is this right here. Okay, that's all just given information. And you also know how much you spent up here. Your CD was $8, the yo-yo was $3, and the sunglasses, they were $5. So we go to the next slide, and what do we want to find out? Well, the question is, how much did we spend on the food? So that's definitely what we're trying to find out, is how much we spent on food. So we make a plan, and in this case, the plan is to write a verbal model. So let's see their verbal model, and you know, everybody has sometimes different take on the verbal model, so it can look a little differently, and that's okay. How can you relate what you know to what you want to find out? And I know this seems long, but you kind of do this. Write a verbal model to describe how the values in this problem are related. A verbal model uses words to describe ideas, then uses math symbols to relate those words. So this is a verbal model. Your money spent on food equals money spent at the mall minus your money spent on the CD, the yo-yo, and the sunglasses. So let's go to the guided practice for example 1, and you're writing, you don't have to write the whole sentence, but let's write the answer down. Number 1, how can you figure out how much you spent at the mall? Well, if you had $29, when you went to the mall, and you came home with $3, wouldn't you subtract to find out your total amount of money? So 29 minus 3 would be, $26. Sorry, I'm just trying to get these made and my pen is just working terribly. So I'll get that fixed when I get my computer with more memory. So that's the answer to number 1. Let's see how they did it. Down here, slide. They have the total money, $29. They have money left after all your purchases. And you see they will subtract it. You can get there. I can't get my mouse to work for some reason. Sorry, right there. So total money minus money left, 29 minus 3, $26. So number 2, how can you figure out how much you spent for items besides food? Well, beside food, remember we bought a CD, a yo-yo, and we bought sunglasses. So how do we figure that up? We add them up. So you'll notice that comes out to be $16. So let's go to example number 2. On example number 2, I know this is taking a problem that seems not quite so complicated and it seems like it's making it long, but we're just analyzing, looking at problems, and sometimes when you do that on an easier problem, then when they get harder, you kind of have the plan. So we solve it, we look back. To solve the problem at the top of page 39 about spending money, you need to carry out the plan from example 1 and then check the answer. So let's do that. Our verbal model that we had written. So money spent at the mall, you know how much we figured that out just a second ago. Our money spent at the mall was $26, and our money spent on the yo-yo and the sunglasses was $16. So let's see what they do here. There's our 29 minus 3 right here. Helps us get that 26. And then remember we added all those up for the other amount. There's the same thing we got. So $10. So that means we had to spend $10 at food at the mall. So let's make sure our answer is reasonable. We add the money up we spent for each item, and it should equal what we started. So there's the CD, the yo-yo, the sunglasses, the $10 we spent on food, plus the $3 we brought home, and that comes out to be $29 total. So guided practice for example 2, it says, what if in example 2, suppose you came home with $5 instead of $3. How much did you spend at the mall? Well, right away I see I'm going to come home with $2 more than what I did before, so that means I spent $2 less on food. So if I spent $10 on food, $2 less would be $8. So I would have had to spend $8 on food to come home with $5. And that's just using the logic of that problem to help me. And notice what they do. Again, money spent at the mall. And they go through, instead of coming home with $3, you come home with $5, which is what they are doing right here. And you still spent the same amount of money, but notice it comes out to be 24 minus 16, which in this case is 8. And when I solved it, I already used what I knew to figure it out. So $8. So number 4 on their guided practice, it says studying. One night, during one weekend, you spent 20 minutes on your math homework, 30 minutes for English, 2 hours, 45 minutes on a social studies project. How much time did you spend on schoolwork for that weekend? So when I go through the plan, if you look at the key concept on the bottom of page 40, you'll notice they have the read and understand, and I don't know any problem that you know, every time you have to solve something, you got to read it and you have to understand it. Number 2, they say make a plan. I'll write this down in your notes since we're, oops, number 3, got down there, is to solve it. Sorry. And number 4 is to look back. We should always look that our answer makes sense. I know that I do this, like even when I'm doing my checkbook, I always think, okay, does it make sense that I have that money? Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is read it and understand it. I read it once, but now I'm going to read it again. I know that it wants to tell me how much time did I spend on schoolwork. So if I spent 20 minutes on math, 30 minutes for English, 2 hours and 45 minutes for social studies, and they want me to know how much altogether, my plan is then to take them and add them together. So I'm going to line them up minutes, 30 minutes, and then I have 2 hours and 45 minutes. No, I'm lining up my minutes with my minutes. So I got a total of 95 minutes right here, 2 hours and 95 minutes. So I know that in 95 minutes, 60 of those make an hour. So if I take out 60 of those and add them to this, that would be 3 hours. You take out 60 away from 95 is 35. So 3 hours. I really don't know how to run this pen very well, I'm sorry. And 35 minutes. So I solved it. Now I'm going to look back and I think, okay, 2 hours and 45 minutes on social studies, and I know that's about another 50 minutes, almost another hour for the others, so pretty close, a little less than an hour, so it looks like it makes sense. So let's see how they did it. They took all their time, like we did, and notice they have a typo. The English should say 30 minutes. And they put it all into minutes, but I left the hours and the minutes together, and it came out the same. So let's look at example 3, drawing a diagram. The mall is 12 miles from your home. Your school is 1/3 of the way from your home to the mall. The library is 1/4 of the way from the school to the mall. How far is the library from your home? All right, so we look at it. Your school and your library are between your home and the mall, which are 12 miles apart. So you need to find the distance between your home and the library. So if you'll notice, they're going to make a diagram, and they're going to show the line of 12 miles. So right here, from your home, there's 0 to 12, and that's pretty easy to see right here. There's 0 to 12, which was given. It says a third of the way. When you take a third of something, right here, this is a really important word right here, a third. When you take a third of something and a fourth of something, taking a third of something is like dividing it by 3, and taking a fourth of something is like dividing it by 4. So if you take a third of 12, that would be 4 miles. Notice a third of 12 is 4 because you divide it by 3, and a fourth of 12, which is over here, in this problem right here, a fourth of 12, the library is 1/4 of the way from the school to the mall. So there was, how many miles from the school here to the mall was 8 miles, so a fourth of 8 is 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6. That diagram helped us by kind of seeing a picture. So let's see how we can incorporate that. Okay, so for example 3, the guided practice says, what if, suppose the library in example 3 is 1/2 the way from the school to the mall. How far is the library from your home? So if you look at that example where we had, here's our line, we know from here this is 12 and this is 0. If the library in example 3, the school is 1/3 of the way, so let's see, we have the school was right here at 4, okay, and there was still from here to here, there was still 8 miles left from there to there. So suppose that the library is 1/2 of the way from the school to the mall. So it's from the school, which is this one, if I should label this school. So halfway between here and here, what's half of 8 divided by 2 would be 4. So it'd be another 4 miles on from the school. So 4 plus 4. So and since it's a story problem, we would put 8 miles. So there's number 5. Here. Notice there's the picture, kind of the same thing I drew. Solve it. Okay, the map shows the distance between 4 cities, and let me see if the map is on here. There we go. Good. So, how many different routes are possible from city A to D without backtracking? That means you can't go back over a road that you've already been on. So from A to D, you can go this way. You can go A, B, D. So A, B, D, you can take that path. You can go A, C, D. You can go A, C, B, D. I don't know if I would, but you could go A, B, C, D. I don't know if my hand hits the CD, guess is the way. Write on it this way and see if that helps me. Let me see. I don't think, let's see if there's any other paths. I think that's it. So when it says how many different routes are possible, we would put in this case that there are, well, let me write that way, that there are 4 routes possible. Okay, and I just used the picture, kind of helped me figure out there. And let's go back over here. Oh, I can get my mouse to work. All right. What is the longest route from city A to D? L. The longest route, if you look at those, it would have to be 2 of those, the 2 longest ones, A, B, C, D, or A, C, B, D. I think they're all, that's, those distances are going to be the same. So let's just do this. Let's just do this one. A to B is 10. Plus B to C is 14, plus C to D is 15. So it would be 10, 20, 30, just counting the 10s, plus the 5 and the 4 make 9. 39 kilometers. And I know that even though this is a different route, it's the same because you're still going over the same roads. You're just going over them in different orders. So that's the longest route, would be 39 kilometers. And there they are adding them up. What's the longest route from city C to B without backtracking? Well, I know the shortest one, C to B. The shortest one's right over here. This one would be the shortest one. But B to C, you can go B, A, C, or you can go B, D, C. And B to D and D to C is longer, so that would be the longest route. 13 plus 15, which is 28 kilometers. Okay. There's the 28. All right, there's your problem solving, so you can go on to the assignments, and I'll see you next time.